tourists, as they like to do, couldn't mess around with anything too much. The other is a more natural type of concrete of a sandy color, which was made from calcite leaking out of the bones over time, creating an adhesive. When you enter the rooms filled with the bodies, you are greeted by a huge stone with a French inscription carved in that translates, "Stop. This is the Empire of the Dead." There are many YOLO and Carpe Diem-esque quotes of the time carved into stone all over the place down there, most of which are in French or in Latin, but there is even one commemorating the time an Australian king came to visit. When bones fall, they are not allowed to be moved due to laws about disturbing the dead, more recently put in place. So there are randomly piles of bones spilt along the pathways. Today, you can see white tabs across stress fractures in the rock, as to this day there is a branch of the Paris Police Department in charge of putting tabs across cracks. Every Parisian gets a quarryman report since, due to a law passed during the French Revolution, property extends from the home into the center of the earth. During the French Revolution, which those history buffs have already figured out was happening during the time that the bones were being brought down, a man named Philibert Aspart was a doorman at the Val de Grace Hospital. On a mission to fetch a certain liqueur from a cellar, Philibert actually ended up entering the Parisian catacombs instead. Walking around the pitch-black catacombs alone with just a single candle, Philibert became incredibly lost and confused. Many believed he had been intoxicated at that time as well. Philibert's candle blew out, making his vision completely black. At this point, it was virtually impossible for him to escape the profound darkness of the catacombs. His body was not found until 11 years later, when a group of cataphiles uncovered it. They identified him by hospital key rings hanging from his belt. Aspart is buried in the catacombs, the exact same place where he died, with a tombstone describing his death. Cataphiles and catacomb folklore tellers say that each November 3rd, Philibert's ghost haunts the labyrinth of the catacombs. This takes us to the year 1820. A top-secret party is to be held inside the catacombs. This is actually considered the first case of a cataphile, which you might have heard me say already, but I didn't explain. A cataphile is someone who goes out on their own to investigate the catacombs and creep around down there. So the party was meant to be top secret, however, all the aristocrats in town were invited. The reason we all know about this party is it made it into the gossip columns of local newspapers. People then found diaries and journal entries later talking about this party. The party is now recreated every year in the catacombs, but not the part with the bones. You see, the original was held in a section of the catacombs known as the Bone Bowl, where the bones are, yes, look like a giant bowl. And since the theme of the party was death, naturally funeral music was played, and still is today. Yes, throughout time, Nazis, black market dealers, French resistance have made their way through the 200 miles of catacombs, which have housed different sorts of battles and different things going on within them. Today, you can still find people. People said to me as I was going on this trip, and people said to me from America while I was on it, "You know, Amelia, there are people who can sneak you down there to show you other areas of the catacombs." And yes, that might be fun, but I'm in a foreign country by myself, and it's a country I don't speak the language, and I don't know, I like to think of myself as a risk taker, as a brave young woman, but it's illegal to go down there, and there's no cell service. And if you stay more than a few days, you will get pneumonia, because it's very damp and very dark. And my dear friend Lauren, who also co-hosts the show with me from time to time, decided to show me the movie As Above, So Below. So I'm all set with that. Throughout time, the legend of the glowing green-eyed monster that would be seen before death still stands. People are still talking about that today. In the early 1990s, a group of cataphiles were walking through the chambers of the ossuary. They happened upon a video camera on the ground. To their surprise, the camera had footage on it As the group watched the footage, they heard disturbing noises. It became apparent the man holding the video camera was lost and had no idea how to escape the tunnels. In the video, you can clearly see that the man was going mad inside the underground network. The video ends abruptly with the man dropping his camera to the ground. To this day, no one knows who the man was or if he ever came out. But many believe that this inspired the movie As Above, So Below, which I just referenced a second ago. In 2009, this is the weirdest of all. In 2009, 2 police officer inspectors hear a dog barking and go towards it. There they find a fully functioning movie theater. They realize the dog barking was just a video recording to scare people away from the area. The alcove next to the theater had a kitchenette. They found cables and quickly discovered that whoever had set this up was getting power from the traffic lights above. They went out to their car to figure out what happened and came back a short while later, and everything was gone. The only thing that they found was a note that said, in French of course, "Don't come looking for us." A group called the USX International said they were responsible, but there has never really been anything about it. I mean, no one really truly knows. In the year 2013, Airbnb auctioned off a night in the catacombs. Now, doesn't that sound like fun? Just pay your money and go sleep a night with thousands and thousands of bodies. A German man won, and so we got to bring someone with him, and well, one might think might be a romantic place to take your wife, or a friend, another paranormal investigator. Oh no, this man brought his mother. So he was there with his mother, and there was a guard paid for by, Airbnb to make sure these people were safe, who stood by the entrance to the gate, made sure no one came in, anything like that. And all of a sudden, he hears something and sees the mother and son run out screaming of the catacombs straight into their hotel room, which they did not leave for days and days before making their way back to Germany, and have refused to be interviewed about what they saw. Recently, what they tell you at the catacombs is that they received an envelope of teeth with a note that said, "My family visited the catacombs, and we took these teeth with us as souvenirs. But ever since we got them, our home has been shrouded in bad luck, so we'd like to return them to the grave." Well, these are just some of the stories and experiences you might get to find before you walk up the 110 stairs on your way out of this spooky space. Yes, Paris has been fabulous, and the catacombs were incredible. We don't really have anything like that in New England, and it's interesting to see, for sure. I highly recommend you all go if you have the chance. And if you look on our social media, and hopefully on our website eventually too, you'll find lots of photos and videos that I've put up of this experience. And that's it for this week. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Again, my name is Amelia. You can find me online at ghosthuntinginnewengland.com, Instagram, Ghost Hunting in New England, Facebook.com/Ghost Hunting in New England, on Twitter at Ghost Hunting NE. Thank you to Aaron Schill, who does our intro music. And I think that's all I have for tonight, you guys. As always, happy hunting.